All right. Good afternoon, privates. Welcome to day 2 of OSUT. Day 2 is going to be pretty different, I'd say, compared to day 1. Day 2 is going to consist of going into the lecture hall for about close to an hour discussing a couple things and then heading out into the field. Now, what we're going to discuss in the lecture hall is going to be how to read a map and how to read your GPS device. Those are the two important things we're going to discuss in there. There's a couple miscellaneous things we're going to go over, like reporting, our site reports, etc. But those are the two big ones to take away from there. After that, the in the field portion is going to consist of basically practicing those movement formations you learned on day 1. And then after that, we're going to learn what bounding is. Bounding is essentially, just to give you a quick peek, is movement you're not getting shot at. Bounding, you're getting shot at. That's the best way to put it. You're going to learn more about that. And then after that, we're going to do a live fire situation with bounding. You guys have any questions?
No question.
No, Sergeant.
No, Sergeant.
All right. Sergeant Doug, let's go ahead and get them loadouts. Make sure you get the teams on.
Yep, Raj.
All right, follow me, Private. Okay, I distinctly heard one of them say, not Sergeant on that one. Was that Remnick again?
He didn't say Sergeant?
I heard him say anything but yes, Sergeant, or something like that. And I was wondering if that was Remnick again.
Okay. I'll keep an eye on it.
Remember, before you enter the classroom, covers and iPro off. No, just stand up behind the chairs. There you go. Sergeant Shaw, they're all yours.
Sergeant Shaw, can you yell? I can't hear you.
Perfect. No one can hear me. No one can ever hear me. That's exactly what I wanted.
Loud and clear.
The joke here was no one knows how to use shares, so don't even try. So, to start out with, we're going to look at the maps. You can open maps by using M on your keyboard. Super simple. What I want you to do is I want you to zoom all the way out. Now, how familiar are you guys with grid squares? Anyone not know what those are?
I'm very familiar.
I know them, Sergeant.
Yep. Good to go, Sarge.
Perfect. So I don't really need to go into too much detail here. I'm going to do what I like to do, which is skim through it really, really fast. If you guys have any questions, don't be afraid to ask. I will hold up everything else just to make sure you understand it, because it is a very important part of how to read maps and etc. So grid squares, you know, you got your chords. You got, for instance, this giant one in the middle, 1, 1. That's your 2-digit chord square. It's about a 20-kilometer radius right there, or I guess area. You zoom in, you notice that the digits go into 2 digits on both sides of your screen. It's going to be a 4-digit grid. To read this area right here, it's going to be 1, 4, 1, 6. You read bottom or top first, the numbers on the top of your screen or the bottom of your screen first, and then you read the numbers on the left-hand side or the right-hand side. You guys understand that? To make sure?
Raj.
Yes, Sergeant.
Yes, Sergeant.
Perfect. All right, if you zoom in even further, you know, it goes into the 6-digit grid ref. You know, you can see 6 digits. This one right here will be 144, 164. Super easy. Now, we have something to break it down even further, because obviously this right here is a large area, right? This is about 100 meters across. So, kind of difficult. If you give out a grid square, it can mean anything in here, right? If you guys are tracking my dot. You guys see it?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Sergeant.
Just to make sure I'm close enough, I have to stand on the side of the desk. Everyone got it? Perfect. So this dot right here, 100 meters within the square, from left to right or top to bottom. It's hard to tell. So we have 2 methods to deal with this. We can either give out what is known as an 8-digit grid ref, which is kind of difficult to kind of imagine on the spot, but essentially an 8-digit would be, these are not going to be measured out in any means whatsoever. They're just going to be basically placeholders. but just so you guys can see the idea here.
Crenshaw, I do have an example of that already drawn out by the compound here.
Terribly drawn shit, but it's fine.
Yeah.
Like, for example, if I wanted to see this part right here, I'd say 1461, 1671. Easy, right? So that'd be your 8-digit grid ref. That'll be a 10-meter distance from left to right or top bottom. So you can get it that small. But it's kind of difficult to imagine where those lines lie, and additionally, kind of hard to explain exactly what you're saying over the net in the heat of the moment. So we have a quicker identification to utilize in this moment. We have what is known as the Keypad Method. Keypad referencing keypad on your computer, the number pad. You got your 7, you got your 8, you got your 9, you got your 1, 2, 3. You get the point. My 3 is a C. Backwards. There you go. Perfect. So keypad method is essentially grid ref 146, 167, keypad 8. That means anything in the top middle of this chord is basically what you're talking about. There's not an exact measurement of the area that we have available for you guys here, but I told you that keypad 8, that means it's going to be in this general vicinity. You guys tracking that?
Yes, sir.
Rockin'.
Perfect. It's very important to remember the keypad method. That one we utilize quite often in certain situations, but over the 8-digit one. The 8-digit one's good to know that exists, but we don't really utilize that one. Get rid of all these markers here. All right. Now I want you to go to... Everyone to go to chord ref 219195.
Okay.
1 down, 2 left. Yeah, the two got it.
Can you say the grid again?
219195. Schmidt, get rid of your dot.
Is it gone?
Yep.
I got it.
Got it? All right, one more.
Got it.
Perfect. So, be honest with yourself, is this the location with my dot?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Perfect. All right, cool. Little test, honor test on that one, just making sure. So, what I'm going to go over now is basically the terrain features. We got those red and brown lines. Now, the way you determine what these mean is on the bottom right hand of your screen, it says the contour interval. Contour interval represents the brown line measurements, with the red line meaning 5 times what the brown means. So, example, you zoom in, making sure that the building right here is on your side of your screen. Each brown line is 1 meter. So this is going to be 1 meter. 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 So here to here is going to be 5 meters in distance in terms of like elevation. You guys tracking that?
Yes, sir.
You notice if I zoom out, you'll notice that it'll switch. Each brown line is 2 meters apart, and if you zoom out even further, it's 5, then 10, etc. So keep that in mind when planning the terrain. If you see a lot of lines staggered up together like that, it's going to be a very steep cliffside. All right, it's going to be very hard to traverse that terrain versus, let's say, going around it through something that doesn't have as many lines stacked up on top of it. You guys see what I mean?
Yes, sir.
Roger.
Perfect. So keep that in mind when you're navigating the terrain. All right, now to explain features of the actual mountain itself. So we got the numbers on top right here. You zoom in even further, more numbers will pop up. That's not really important, but point being is that you see some of those numbers, right?
Yes, sir.
Each one of those numbers means that is the high point or hilltop of that particular area. You can see a lot of them bunched up together, but essentially that just means that there's no higher elevation in that particular little pocket of area. So it's 73 meters above sea level, 72 meters above sea level, 74 meters above sea level. Pretty easy to understand that part. So you can realize that this is pretty high comparatively to something that's probably down here. There's no clear way to tell where the elevation is. There's no numbers nearby it. What we can do is associate. You got the 25 over here. To go over here, probably going to be about 30, 35 meters above sea level, some shit like that. So you can see that there's still about a 40 to 50 meter degree difference. You can do that quickly by utilizing terrain features that are further apart. Additionally, you can count the contour lines, but if you want to do something fast, you can kind of look around and see what you can find. Now, a lot of hilltops together, referencing this line I'm drawing right here, it's called what is known as a ridge line. Ridge lines are essentially, once you go over it, you'll be doing one thing and one thing only. If you're standing on top of it. Does anyone know what that is?
Getting shot.
Close enough. I'll take that as an answer. Anyone else have any other answer? Looking for a particular skylining. Perfect. Yep. Skylining. If you're standing on top of the ridgeline, you are putting the backdrop of the sky behind you, making it very visible, easy to get shot at. You want to avoid that at all costs, or at least whenever possible. So keep that in mind when traversing as well. If you want to go from point A to point B, you want to utilize a little bit different movement method. I'll go over in just a second, but let me finish going over some of the other features here. So we have what is known as a saddle. A saddle is essentially a little flat area, dips between two different hilltops. Best way to put it is basically this right here, this right here. The saddle kind of goes below both of them and gets back into it. It's the easiest way to explain that. Now, like your saddle on a horse kind of dips like a U a little bit, comes back up. That would be the saddle. Next up, we have draws and spurs. Now, a draw is like this right here. You guys look at that marker on the left right there. It's going to be the kind of horseshoe around this little depression right here. Depression being a decrease in elevation, with the middle part being what is known as a spur. Oh, correction. I got them flip-flopped. The spur is the horseshoe, and the draw is the depression. Apologies on that one. You guys understand that? Here's a method to remember that kind of terrain feature going forward. This will probably stay with you if you actually remember it. I, for one, will never forget this fucking method. Take your fist, ball it up, look at the back of your hand. The hilltops are the points of your knuckles. Saddles are the ones that the area connecting the knuckles together. If you draw a line through your knuckles. After that, you got your spurs, which are the length of your fingers going down, and you got your draws, which are the lines between your fingers. Make sense?
Yes, sir.
Makes sense.
Yep.
Perfect. All right. So going back to the movement through this terrain, does anyone know the best way to move from, let's just say, I'll give you a starting point right here to right here. Go ahead and draw on the map. You can draw on the map by going Control and then just left-clicking that.
Which spots again, Sergeant? Sorry, I zoomed out on.
It's the flag is going to be your starting point. The objective marker is going to be your end point. Go ahead and draw with the line from point A to point B. The best way you would go about going there.
Okay.
I'm not seeing the flag.
I'm not seeing a flag.
Huh.
Oh, that. Okay. Gotcha. I see.
Got it.
All right, I got 2 lines. Waiting on the third one. Perfect. All right, I got 2 of you who did something correct. 1 of you incorrect. Obviously, you can kind of see the 2 black lines being the ones that I'm talking about being correct. So, Private Newman, the reason why you don't want to do that, the aforementioned getting shot at when you travel on top of the ridgeline itself, right? So,
Copy that.
the best way to do this is to essentially, let me get rid of these lines real quick. clutter up what I'm drawing here myself. So the idea here is you want to travel on the downslope very close to the top of the ridgeline,
The
but you
highest
want to
point
stay
without
safe.
skylining. Yeah.
Exactly. Now, there's two reasons for this. Number one, you get engaged from the ridgeline. You now put yourself within meters of engaging that enemy, right? We can go deal with that. They're not going to have too much of an advantage on us, right? They're going to be right in front of us. The other one is that if they attack us from the south, we now have to push up about 5 meters upslope to use that ridgeline as cover. We can get to the other side of the ridgeline and use that as cover. Tracking?
Yes, sir.
Tracking.
Perfect. So it's that simple. Not too much to think about here. So that's how you utilize terrain features to your advantage. You want to stay close to the top, but not on the top. All right. Now, moving on, we have discussed what the roads are. We have the giant brick yellow road right here. You guys tracking that?
Yes, sir.
Tracking.
So those are going to be known as basically MSRs, main supply routes. Typically, you'd see a large portion of troops utilizing that road as it's typically like a highway or a very well done paved road, making it easy to traverse. Next up, you got the ASRs, which are the auxiliary supply routes. Kind of see them branching off right here. Now, these are the roads that connect towns to the MSR, right? They kind of branch out from the MSR. Typically, you won't see a large amount of troops going through this, but they typically can be paved roads or large enough roads to support multiple vehicles traveling at the same time. And then lastly, you have the OSRs. OSRs are off-road supply routes. They let me get rid of the ASR lines real quick. These guys are typically like trails or ways locals use to travel the land. Typically, only like a small off-road vehicle or small vehicle in general will be able to traverse it. You wouldn't see a lot of battle-ready armaments traveling that road. It's very kind of dangerous to travel on roads like this, as you can get caught in a ditch, etc. So you won't really see too much of that going on there. You guys have any questions about the roads?
No, sir.
Question.
All right. So last thing I'm going to go over before I hand it over to Sergeant Douglas here is following this road to the southwest, right? Go to the town of Paros. You guys have all eyes on that?
Yes, sir.
So let's say you're defending this with the platoon. Doesn't matter what the squads are for this example. But there's a lot of roads, right? There's a literal fuck ton of roads. So calling out a road of which they're coming from, if you say they're coming from the north, that can mean 3 different roads at the very least. Coming from the south, that one or that one. Right? A lot of different roads coming into town, coming out of town, etc. So what we can do as the platoon, and you can send this up to your squad lead to get this passed up to the platoon, so the platoon can then start labeling shit, is you can simply ask for the roads to be labeled. Very simply, something like this. Blue. I put an I in there because I'm funny. Green. Or ASR. Red. MSR red. Shit like that, right? Label it what type of road it is, following it up with a color. That way, when you can call things up, you'll be like, all right, they're coming in from ASR red. You know exactly what road they're coming in from. Very simple thing to do, but we don't utilize it often as we're not finding ourselves in situations where we're defending a town that big with that many roads going into it. But we just got to be aware that if we do find ourselves in that position, it can only help us and not actually fuck anything up. Tracking?
Yes, sir.
Tracking.
Yes,
All
sir.
right. Sergeant Douglas, are you ready to go?
Affirm, Sergeant.
You're going to have to speak up if you're not talking at all.
Affirm.
Perfect.
Alright, so the next thing we're going to go over, as Sergeant Shaw said earlier, is your GPS devices. Now, before I get fully into this, one thing we will go over is there is a known issue with the GPS devices that will cause you to crash the desktop. This is a known issue. This is an issue that's been around for a while, and that there is really no fix to the issue. Excuse me. So if it happens, obviously your TFAR will disconnect, so you'll be talking on global. So if this happens during a training or an operation, especially an operation, just move to a different room in TeamSpeak because you don't want to be hearing 60 people talking at once. Trust me, it is hell on your ears. Calmly restart Arma. Don't say anything before you move rooms because, again, you'll be on global. Everybody that is in that room will be able to hear you. Stay calm, restart Arma, get back into the fight. Does that make sense to everybody?
Makes sense.
Yes, Sergeant.
Yes, Sergeant.
All right, so with that, the way we open our GPS devices is with the control and hotel keys. Go ahead and do so now. Everybody still with me here?
Yes, Sergeant.
Yep.
Yes, Sergeant. Sergeant Douglas. It looks like I just.
Oh yeah, looks like you had that the crash issue. So you could just go ahead and close out Arma and restart Arma.
I'm loading back in.
Chief, you want to get ready to grab him? He had a team leader kit.
I can get them for you.
Nope, that works too.
To remove your cover in your iPro.
Copy. All right.
All right, Private Schmidt, go ahead and try opening your device again.
All right. Good to go now. Let me get it. Yep. Okay.
All right, now that everybody is ready, here are a few things about the device. So, first things first, if you click anywhere on that end body on the device, you can drag it and move it around your screen, place it where you like. Everybody has their preferences. Usually I just leave it where it is. Going into the actual display itself on the device. And the top middle is going to be the current time in game. Obviously, it's going to display time wherever you guys may be. It'll be the current time in game. Something to note as it'll come into play later. In the bottom left corner, it's going to tell you what direction you are facing with a bearing. So you guys should be facing east or 90. On the device, 0 is north, 180 is south, and 270 is west. In the bottom center is the current grid that you're in, which should be 240187. Next, in the bottom right is the cardinal direction you are facing. Again, it should be denoted by an E, or correction, west. My bad, I have it backwards. You guys are facing west, I am facing east. So it should say 270 and have a W there. And finally, getting into that little gray box in the bottom right. So if you guys notice, as you move your mouse around on the screen, that there's a little yellow arrow that follows it. That is going to tell you, that little gray box is going to tell you information about where that yellow arrow is. You can also zoom in and out with scroll wheel. So if we go up to just below that runway 9 marker to our north here, we'll get into the information in the bottom right there. So in the bottom right, at the top of that gray box, is going to be the grid coordinates for where your cursor is, which should be 240189. Next is the elevation of where your cursor's at, so that'll be 3 meters. Next is the distance from you to where your cursor is, so it should be roughly 200 meters, give or take, since we are standing in different spots. And lastly, it is going to give you a bearing and cardinal direction to it, which should be roughly 358, give or take. Again, because we are standing in different places. Is there any questions about any information about the display itself?
No questions.
No, Sergeant.
No, Sergeant.
All right. Continuing on, if you guys look to the left of the runway there, you'll notice a vast array of what we call blue force tracker marks. So blue force tracker marks can be used for a number of things, primarily to track enemy positions. Also, it can be used for friendly positions, and can also be used to mark other miscellaneous things. So, starting with that first marker in the top left, that red diamond with the single line in it with the timestamp 0730. So again, that number is exactly what I just said. It's a timestamp. Those timestamps go down with the marker whenever you place it down. So usually when information about markers is getting passed around, you pass the information about the marker, the type of marker, and what grid is it in. Because as you can see, multiple markers can be placed down at the same time. So passing all of that information at once helps avoid confusion when trying to talk about a certain marker. Now getting into what this first marker means. That marker is for a single enemy rifleman. Now you don't see this marker too commonly unless it is being used to denote a position for a marksman, or a single dude has really pissed somebody off. But again, that is just a single rifleman mark. Moving on to the next marker to the right of that, the red diamond with the X in the middle of it, with a couple other extra things on this one. So the little circle with a line through it denotes that this is a fire team size element. So this is roughly going to be 3 to 4 dudes. Now, we can also denote a direction of travel for enemy. So that's what the line coming out of the bottom of that marker means. It means that this enemy fire team is traveling southernly, or traveling to their south. Moving on to the next marker to the right of that, a marker but with a single solid dot above it. This is going to denote an enemy squad. This will be 8 to 10 guys. Moving on to the next one to the right of that, the 2 solid dots. This is a section. This is usually a 2 to 3 squad size element of enemy infantry. And finally, moving on to the one to the right of that with the 3 dots above it, that is going to denote an enemy platoon. This is a 3 to 4 squad size element. Anybody have any question about any of the markers in that top row?
No question.
No, Sergeant. No, Sergeant.
All right, moving on to our second row here. The diamond with the X and the line through it. This is going to denote an enemy motorized asset. So this could be a truck, this could be a BTR, this could be a BRDM, things of that nature. Now again, I know you guys don't know what some of those vehicles are, as we'll go over vehicle ID in day 3. I just want you to keep that in mind with these markers. Moving on to the next one to the right of that, the oval with the red X through it. This is going to denote an enemy mechanized asset. So this is going to be your BMP types. Again, something Fred mentioned with the last marker, these are also tend to be supported by infantry. Moving on to the third one in this row, just the oval. This is going to denote enemy main battle tank. That is all this marker is used for. When you see this marker and you're in a rifle squad, it is probably best you avoid it and leave it to either the weapon squad or air assets to deal with. And moving on to the last one in this row here, the oval that looks like it's sitting on a hill. This is going to denote an enemy mechanized anti-air asset. So again, I know you guys may not know what some of these vehicles are, but just keep in mind with these markers for the mechanized AA, these are going to be your Shilkas and your Tunguskas. Are there any questions about any of the markers in that row?
No questions.
No,
So
Sergeant.
I see the marker for the mechanized AA asset is a bit lighter than the other one, Sergeant. Is that supposed to be like that, or is that an error?
No, the lightness of the color doesn't really matter too much. It's a newer marker we have in our system, so I believe it was made just a little differently than the other markers. So it's not an error, it's just something that's slightly different.
Okay, roger that, Sergeant.
Are there any other questions?
No questions.
No questions.
All right, moving on to our third row markers here. The first one being the little circle with the arrow coming out of it with the equal signs in it. This is going to denote an enemy mortar. So usually these are put down in groups of 3 or 4 to denote where each individual mortar tube is, versus with the group indicated markers you may see above. However, you can also, if you're in a rush, you can also just put this marker down and say how many mortar tubes are there. However, either way, this denotes an enemy asset capable of providing them with IDF. IDF is not fun, for us at least, when it's used against us. So keep in mind when you ever see this marker, because that means you need to mind your spacing. Now, before I get to the next 2 markers in this row, I will caveat what I'm about to say with this. When these markers go down, it means they are stationary and on the ground. The next 2 markers are for enemy air assets, and obviously airplanes move very quick, so it would be impossible to keep the markers accurate while they're in the air. So if these markers are down, it means they are stationary and on the ground. So with that, first marker here that kind of looks like 2 Doritos touching at the tips is going to denote a enemy rotary asset. This is going to be your helicopters. Main type, transport, attack, whatever. Again, this denotes a helicopter on the ground. And moving on to the second one here that kind of looks like the infinity symbol, that is going to denote an enemy fixed wing asset. So these are going to be your jets, your prop planes, whatever it may be. It is going to be an actual airplane jet, but whatever you may want to call it. With that, are there any questions about any of the OP4 markers we have been over here?
No questions.
No, Sergeant.
No, Sergeant.
All right, let me just remove those for you real quick, and we'll move on to our last row of markers here. So, starting with the first marker on the left, the green arrows pointing at the line. That is going to denote a casualty. Now, you may not see this too often. However, you do see it occasionally. It is usually used to mark a casualty that a medic cannot get to right away, and he needs either another medic to know his that person's position, or just to know that person's position when that medic can get to them. So that is to mark a casualty. Now, the next two markers usually go hand in hand, however, not necessarily. First one, just the empty green circle, is going to denote a casualty collection point, or CCP. Now, these can be predetermined before a mass casualty event happens. However, again, these usually go up when a mass casualty event happens. And with that, our next marker, the green circle with the exclamation point in it, is to denote a mass casualty incident. So it's just used to mark a position where a lot of guys have gone down, and you may not be in range to see the purple smoke. So it is for the whole platoon to be able to, even the whole task force to be able to see where that mass cas actually is. And finally, our last marker here, the blue circle with the arrow pointing down into it, that is going to be an LZ marker. So if you're ever in around one of these, make sure you're not sitting right on top of that, because usually where the LZ marker is where Dagger wants that aircraft to land. So give this marker a little bit of wide berth and keep security around that marker when you are tasked with it. Are there any questions about any of those markers?
Okay.
No, sir.
I think I only heard two.
Sorry, no, Sergeant.
All right, with that, I'll be handing you off to Chief Clay to go over types of patrols and reports.
Thank you, Sergeant. Okay, so the section we're going to be going over now is the types of patrols and also reports and how to give out a notification and whatnot. So, first type of patrol, there's 5 of them. The first one is planning. We always go into an FTX operation or a squad training or something like that with a plan. But remember, this plan might change upon contact and will normally do so with changing of as soon as contact is made. The second one is Recon. Always do some sort of form of recon. That's either via Dagger, using rotary assets, aviation fixed-wing assets, or the UAV assets, or you can even use a camera from the 40 Mike shot up into the air to do some sort of form of recon, or just doing it visually with your eyeballs. Security. Always maintain a 360-degree awareness around you. Control. That means somebody must be in control of the situation at all times, meaning there must be a task force commander at all times, if that's all the way down to a squad leader position. The highest ranking person that in a squad training is the task force commander, quote unquote. Common sense. Common is just basically just use your common sense. It's what it should be. It's just common sense. So, five principles of patrolling: planning, recon, security, control, and common sense. Now, types of patrols. There's 2 types of patrols that we can do. The first one they do in the Army, but we just don't do it here. We don't do a reconnaissance patrol. We do combat patrols only. So I'm not going to go over reconnaissance patrols. Just know that there is such a thing as called a reconnaissance patrol. So the first type of combat patrol that we'll go over today is assault. And the assault is a patrol to attack and occupy a certain position. So you're going in to clear out the enemy that are occupying a civilian town or something like that. We've been tasked with going into that town to clear it out, and then we'll hold that position from any type of counterattack. Second one is a raid. Basically, we're going to go raid a position that has a lot of infantry in it, or mechanized armor, or something that is a little bit beyond what we can significantly hold, or it's further deep into enemy lines that they could possibly re-attack and reoccupy that position. So we want to go in there, destroy whatever we can, and get out. So we have a planned exfil to get out. And then an ambush. There's two types of ambushes. There's a planned ambush, and then there's just a quick setup ambush. Planned ambush is we have a known route that the enemy is going to be utilizing to transport supplies, vehicles, whatever, troops or anything like that. It's mainly on an MSR or an ASR if they need to go into the back roads and whatnot. We'll set up on that route, and we'll employ blacksmith will employ AT mines, and then we'll also use claymores set up on the side of the road once the infantry start dismounting from the vehicles and whatnot. Now, a quick ambush is something that is, we get notified that, hey, there's a convoy moving down this road and whatnot, but it's during the middle of a firefight, and we need to get to that position. We need to get to an advantageous position to be able to engage them in a quick order. So we won't be able to set up any type of fortifications, meaning we won't be able to build entrenchments or anything like that. And that's just an ambush, if you guys didn't get the name of it. Now, fire and maneuver. There's three elements to fire and maneuver. There's an assault element, support element, and a security element. The assault element is the element that provides rear security during movements. They act as a maneuver element for the patrol. Support element is the support element provides a base of fire for fire during attacks. They're normally going to be on the front lines. They'll take that brunt of that first initial engagement. They'll set up a base of fire for everybody to maneuver around them and attack the enemy from the sides, flank them, so on and so forth. The security element is when we occupy a certain area, the security element will set up on the outside, providing a cordon around the engagement zone to make sure that nobody gets out of there. Now we have different types of identification of individuals. We have 4 types of identification. The first one is contact. That is, somebody is currently engaging you, or somebody will be engaging, or you'll be engaging somebody in a very short amount of time. So less than, say, 100 meters. Movement is if you're going through the trees and you see some sort of fleeting movement out of the corner of your eye. You couldn't identify it, what it was and whatnot, but you just call it up as movement. You say, hey, got movement certain degrees, approximately 150 meters, or whatever you estimate the distance is to that that movement that you saw. The third one is civilian. A civilian can have a rifle on their back. That's an armed civilian. There's places in the world where they allow AKs or security principles and whatnot. So if you see a person running around with a rifle, or not running, but walking around with a rifle on their back, that is not a contact. The only reason they would become a contact is if they pulled that rifle off their back and pointed it directly at you. Now, you've probably heard of this term that does not exist in anywhere out here, it is a civilian contact. There's no such thing. If a civilian points a rifle at you, they are no longer civilian. They are a contact. So just disregard any type of civilian contact that you guys have pre-made into your brains. And the last one is friendly. Friendly is exactly what it sounds like. You see a friendly unit. So there's two types of reports. You have an ADIRAC report and an ACE report. An ADIRAC report, both of them are acronyms. The ADIRAC report is spelled Alpha, Delta, Delta, Romeo, Alpha, Charlie. The first A stands for alert. The first D stands for direction. The second D stands for description. The R stands for range. The next A stands for assignment, and the last word is control. So the alert is, you say one of the identification enemy infantry or the enemy the identification modules that we just went over. You have those four choices at your disposal. Direction, give a compass bearing, cardinal direction, left, right, center, whatever. Description, what type of description that you saw of the target, a fleeting movement, clothes, or a vehicle, or helicopter, or something. Range, guesstimate a range, unless you absolutely physically know what that range is. You got your binos on it, and you got an absolute range of, hey, 151 meters. Assignment comes down to leadership, and they will choose the people to engage if it is a contact, or set up to engage if they can't identify it and whatnot. So they'll get online, they'll say, hey, the first person to see it, identify it, PID it, and then if it is an enemy, go and engage it. And control is always in the hands of leadership. They control when to engage, when to fire. Now, the ACE report, as I said, it's an acronym. It stands for ammunition, casualties, and equipment. Now, ACE reports are what we normally physically do in the 506 all the time. We do ACE reports constantly, especially in fire teams and whatnot. They're always wanting to do ACE reports. So ACE reports, the first one, ammunition. We go into a FTX, a field training exercise, operation, or something like that, with a maximum amount of magazines allowed in our kits and whatnot. You guys also have that same situation going on with the training loadouts that you guys currently have. So go and take a look at your loadouts whenever you can to see how many magazines you guys have, and then tweak that to the way that you should put it. Like, you start out with, I think you guys have 8 magazines in your rifles. That would be your green at 8 magazines. Yellow, you would be at 6 magazines shot, or 6 magazines left. 4 magazines, you would be orange. 2 magazines, you're red. Down to 1 magazine, you're red, and then 0 magazines left, you're black. Now, what I just did is a color system. That is how you are to relay information to your team leader or your SL. So, as a fire team leader, you get everybody's ammunition counts and whatnot. They give you colors and whatnot. You figure out, okay, I have 4 guys here. They said they have 8 magazines each going into this mission, and they're all yellow, meaning everybody has 6 magazines. So, in total, we have a maximum of 24 magazines on us, and when we started out with, what, 30? So you go in there, you're going to say you're yellow on you're yellow on 5.56. Your AR is a little bit different because he has 100-round belts. So you have to gauge that, like, okay, 5.56, 30-round mags were yellow. The AR is pretty easy because he just gauges, like, okay, I went in with so many odd belts, I only have so many left. That is, I'm yellow, or whatever he guesstimates that color, and they send it up as, hey, this the AR is yellow on yellow, green, red, black on belts. Now the second one, casualties. Casualties are, let's say, somebody has taken a small wound in their torso, in their arm, or whatever, and they're needing to bandage up. Or if there's somebody on the ground unconscious because they took a lot of bullets or took a lot of shrapnel or anything like that, you want to say, hey, we need to get Mike over here. We need a casualty and whatnot. Normally it's just saying how many people are injured, how many people are down. Last up is equipment. Equipment is anything other than your primary ammunition, your 5.56 and whatnot, your 5.56 or your magazines for your pistol. That could be your AT4, your grenadier with 40 mic, grenades, smoke, or HE or HEDP. Now, things that are not war crimes that you might have heard that they are war crimes. First off, in any holy building or any medical center or something like that, if you're being physically engaged from within those types of structures, they are not classified as a protected area because you're being shot at. So you can shoot back at them. However, it will be deemed down to the task force commander's choice how to engage that target. Let's say there is a BTR 80 Alpha that is directly engaging from outside of a holy building or something like that, and he sees there's civilians that are being seen inside it or around it, how he wants to engage that because he doesn't want to kill those civilians. It'll be up to him to warrant. He'll determine how he wants to warrant how to engage that target. And we're going to go over PCCs here in a second. During PCCs, you want to do your radio checks. The TL will do radio checks with everybody in his team. And the SO will do a battle check or a radio check with the team leads and the mic. During PCCs, the fire team leader will assign battle buddies within his fire team, and the fire team will be assigned. Let's say you'll be Alpha. All of you will be in Alpha today and tomorrow, or not tomorrow, but day 4. You'll all be in Alpha most likely. That means you'll be pushing .1 on your radios, and you'll be pushing red. Now, during PCCs, you'll also be assigning a 2IC for the fire team. So if the fire team leader goes down, the 2IC will step up onto the onto the squad net, notifying that, hey, the fire team leader is down, Alpha Actual is down, this 2IC stepping up. You want to make sure that you check your equipment during PCCs. Go over what type of equipment you have in your possessions. That way you can make a actual choice of how to engage a certain area, if it's entrenched or guarded or something like that. Look at how many magazines you guys all have, 40 mics, all that fun stuff. So with that one, we're going to go outside. We'll do a PCC and show you guys how to do it. utilizing other members of the unit as well, and then we'll move on.
Hey, Chief.
Yeah, go ahead.
If you don't mind, I have just a few questions.
Okay.
Going back to right before we spoke about patrols, there was a mention of 5 Cs, or maybe it was 4 Cs. Do you recall what? Yeah, it was like common sense, something, something.
Oh, it's 5 principles of patrolling. And
Do you
that
mind just
planning, recon, security, control, and common sense.
what is P for?
The first one is planning.
Yep.
You always go into an operation with a plan, but that plan will change upon first contact. Next up is recon. Always do some sort of form of recon that's either via dagger, rotary, aviation, any type of aviation, or just utilizing your camera, your eyes, and just being able to see the target. Third is security. Security is always maintaining a 360-degree awareness around you at all times. So you always want to make sure everybody's covering your 6 while you guys are in a stopped position. Last up is common sense.
Okay. And then the last thing that we just spoke about with radio checks and the battle buddies and everything, did refer to that as, was that PC? Hear that correctly?
Yeah, PCC, or pre-combat checks.
Pre-combat check. Awesome. All right, that's all I had to use. Sorry.
No worries. Anybody else?
No
No,
questions.
Okay, go and follow me outside. Okay, once you're outside, go and put your headgear and your iPro back on. Okay, we'll step off over here into the pre-combat checks area. Sergeant Douglas, you want to step forward and take over the squad since you're going to be there till today?
All right, so all of you guys are going to be alpha, so go ahead and line up here and kneel down and get one behind the other.
How badly did I fucking cut out during that?
Sergeant Carroll, you can join off me.
Not really.
First.
Make sure all you guys do the same. Yeah, you guys will be blue.
And you said red for alpha, right?
Okay. Can you let me go, please?
Oh, sorry.
Thank you. All right, so this is what are known as pre-combat checks. So when you guys are here, you guys will be doing some of the checks that are required before stepping off into the field. So they'll be doing things like what we call checking your microdagger batteries, or making sure that you can open your device without crashing. You'll be making sure you join the correct team on the Blue Force tracker. So for you guys in Alpha, that'll be red. You may hear some people say, on your red name tape. You do that by Ace Self-Interact, Team Management, and join red. So Alpha, in a standard ref squad, Alpha's usually red, Bravo's usually blue, the mic's usually green, and the squad leader is usually yellow. Other things you'll do, if you would like to do that now, is just look in your loadout here and make sure you have all the equipment and ammunition you need. Make sure nothing is missing. There shouldn't be in your guys' loadout, but just get familiar with what you guys do have in it. Then, the next thing next things you'll do is set up your radios. So Private Schmidt, go ahead and set up the radio, pretty much more or less exactly the way you had it yesterday. The other two, you guys are only going to be on 100.1.
And for channel 2, can you give me that for you again one more time, Sergeant?
So you're going to be on 100 and 100.1.
Copy, thank you.
Once you guys have your radio set up, go ahead and do radio checks.
Sanders to Schmidt, radio check on 100.1.
Actual, this is Bravo, radio check on Freak 100, over.
Say again for
Bravo, this is Info 1, get you them Charlie 100.
Actually, this is my radio check on frequency 100.
Mike, this is Info 1, get you them Charlie on 100, over.
Copy, Mike. I'm also tracking Bravo.
Andy Station, this is Net. This is Stevens requesting a radio check on 100.1, over.
Somebody's on speakers.
Anyone on?
Somebody.
Anyone on
Speakers. 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 Hello. Oh, it's fixed now.
Sorry, that was me, guys.
Anyone on it? This is.
I have channel 1 at 100.1 and channel 2 at 100.
All right. Do you figure out how to set the additional channel?
Yeah, and the additional.
So it is the arrow right next to the one.
Andy
when you
Station, this
switch
is Net. This
between
is
speakers
Stevens
and
requesting a
headphones.
radio check 100.1,
And
over.
that's going to be on channel 2, correct?
Stevens, this is Rennick. Loud clear, over.
Yeah, come back out.
Okay. And then for 1. Alright, and then how do I set it left to right again?
It'll be the 0 with the parentheses is how you change between left ear and right ear.
Okay. Alright guys, one more second. I'll be ready for this radio check, sorry. Name's my additional radio Yvonne. Correct. Okay, I'm hitting T and nothing's happening on my additional radio, so.
All right, go to Configure, Controls, Configure Add-ons, go to TFAR, scroll down until you see SR Transmit Additional. What is that set to right now?
T.
All right, open up your radio. So what is you on C1?
C1 is 100.
Okay.
And additional is 100.1.
All right. Do you still have it? Did you leave it on the where the additional was showing?
Yes.
All right. You need to change back to where you see C1 100 and leave the additional on whatever channel it's on. Do that, and then once you have verified that you're not set up on with the additional still showing, try hitting it again.
Okay, there we go.
All right, now go ahead and do your radio check.
And 100 is the fire team radio?
No.
Or
100 is squad net with myself, Bravo, and Mike. 100.1 is the fire team net with the other members of your fire team.
Gotcha.
Private Newman, this is Schmidt. Radio check on 100.1.
Schmidt, this is Newman, Lima Charlie on 100.1.
Roger, out.
Good radio check, just got Schmidt anymore, you are now Alpha.
Alpha, copy.
And Rennick, this is Alpha. Radio check on 100.1. How copy?
Alpha, this is Rennick, loud and clear, over.
Roger, Alpha out. And then
Anvil 111.
No, what's your call sign?
Anvil 11.
Anvil 11.
Anvil 11, this is Alpha. Radio check on 100. How copy? Alpha, this is 11. Get you Lima Charlie on 100. Over. Roger, Alpha out.
All right. With that, we're going to take the blue flagpole behind me here to the movement course. Go ahead and go through now. All right. When you guys are through, privates on me.
Sergeant, how do I get out of walk again? Isn't it Control Charlie?
I forget it off the top of my head. Take your rifle out real quick. And either hit W and S together or Control and Charlie. Those are usually the two most common. Alright.
Double tap C, Private Schmidt.
Make sure you're not on your optic and hit Control Charlie to come off of that.
And also double tap C to make sure you're out of combat mode.
Control Charlie is
Alright, so the next block instruction we're going to go over here is how to set a danger crossing for a linear danger area or an LDA. So these are used when we are not in contact, but we still need to cover a large linear danger area, such as a road, as you see behind me here. Now what's going to happen is within the squad, the squad leader is going to call the fire team leader. Alpha, this is 1-1. Go ahead and set a danger crossing on this road. Over. Alpha respond with, Wilco, whatever their choice response is. And then what Alpha's going to do is he's going to say, hey, Team 1, Team 2, whatever it may be. Team 1 is usually himself in the AR, and Team 2 is usually the Grenadier and the Rifleman, with the Grenadier being the 2IC, which is something I forgot to mention here. Private Newman will be your 2IC for today.
copy.
With that, you'll be like, okay, Team 2, set near side.
Set this up.
So what the two guys in Team 2 will then do is they're going to move up to where you see, these guys are here, except they'll be a little bit more spread out. They're just a little bit closer here for your viewing purposes. And they're going to lay down, facing opposite ways, watching down the road. Once they do that, they'll say near side set. Once you know the near side is set, it'll be, you'll say, Raj, okay, Team 1, let's set far side. And you'll go with your battle buddy. Go ahead and stand up and follow me here.
Oh, okay, I guess he's not going to do it.
Alright, but what they're going to do is instead, instead of just laying down like those guys, what they're going to do is they're going to clear out any sort of imminent danger area, such as behind this rock wall that they can't see past. They'll move, they'll come, they'll clear it out real quick. Once they verify it's clear, they are then going to move back and take up their security positions. Once you know the far side is set, you'll then call the squad leader, 1-1, this is Alpha, danger crossing set. And then the squad leader respond, Roger, Alpha, myself and Bravo are moving through, et cetera, et cetera. Then, again, if we move back here. As whoever needs to move through the danger area moves through, it could be just the rest of the squad, it could be the rest of the platoon, it could be, a whole task force. Whatever it may be, whoever will pass through, and then what's going to happen is the last person, the last couple of people to cross through it are going to tell the people on either side, hey, you're last man. So in this case, if I was the last person, I'm running past Wilson here, I'll run past him, Wilson, last man. What Wilson will then do is he's going to give me about 5 to 10 seconds to make it across the danger crossing, and then he's going to pick up and move across himself. Then when Wilson passes Blackburn here, he's going to tell him, hey, Blackburn, last man. And then, again, same, 5 or so seconds, and then they'll pick up and continue moving with the rest of the squad. Does that make sense to everybody?
Makes sense.
Yes, Sergeant.
Yes, Sergeant. Sergeant,
All right.
I think I have a bug going on here. I don't know what's going on.
All right,
Like,
go
I've
to
I've never
Configure,
seen this happen before.
Controls, and I believe it is under Infantry Movement.
Yep, it's Control C. It's weird. Like when I hit Control C, there's this little black window that pops up. It says easier switch to flashlight.
Yeah, that's his RHS option, Sergeant Douglas.
Yeah. Go to Configure Controls, Configure Add-ons.
No.
Oh, I thought.
Go back to the main escape window.
Okay.
And then just above where it says menu and continue, you'll see RHS game options.
Yes.
Then under key bindings infantry, you're going to see a bunch of different like weapon interaction, accessory.
Huh?
I wouldn't utilize those. The ACE ones work just fine. There is some use of them, but you'll have to bind them to different keys. So find the ones that say Control Charlie or left Control plus something, and change them to something else.
Okay.
Optic interaction mode might still be left Control plus your secondary mouse button. I think that's.
Yeah, it's like this little window is like stuck up. Left Control. All set to left. Yeah, I
give you a thumbs up changing that.
Yeah, I can't get out of. It's just the little RHS window that says switch to flashlight is just stuck up, and like I can't get out.
All right, open up your inventory. Take the rail attachment off your weapon, or your pick 15 there. All right. See if that helps it.
Just stuck on switch to flashlight.
Okay. Go back to RHS options. Under key bindings infantry, what do you have weapon interaction set to?
User action 5.
Okay, what do you have accessory set to?
Action 3.
What do you have optic interaction set to?
Action 6.
And laser target, what do you have that set to?
Action 5.
Okay. Let's see here.
I would just change your walk run toggle to W plus S. It would be the easiest.
That's the way I might be get through it today. Where to find that?
Yep. There we go. All right. Cool. All right. Thanks, guys.
All right, moving on here.
Yeah, you're good.
Not RHS. Not RHS. The only thing I can think of would be an ACE setting, but Sounded like it was
Alright,
RHS.
this is
from what it's
a
describing.
kind of a
Yeah, and it was definitely
long
RHS, but
formation.
the only way to fix it is
Again,
to go
you
to
guys
the
wouldn't want to
fucking
be
use
close
your
together, and they would want to go
command
find
actions,
cover.
then you have to go into
Single
the
mortar round landed
use action
right
once
there.
and
All these
change
guys are
those.
probably going to be either dead
Just more of
or
a fucking
dying.
asshole.
That's what he had him set to, but
However,
the use
again,
action 1 is used
they're
for our advanced movement.
purposes.
Yeah.
Everything else should be blank.
So whenever taking a long halt while you're waiting for
Unless he's
either
got him
other
bound to
fire
something.
team to set a danger across, finish with the covering
Yeah,
the
you
danger
might have-
crossing,
I didn't think about
or
that. He
you
probably
need to
had
wait
his.
for another
He's
element
probably
to
got to
catch
use
up or
actions.
something.
That's
This is
something else.
the sort of formation
Might have
that's gonna
had
happen.
him on a different.
Usually the squad leader and medical will be somewhere
Yeah.
central
You
with the
might have been
squad.
using this
Then you have one fire
profile
team
for something else or
responsibility
something
for
like that.
security
And
one
Yeah.
way, so they're covering east
That's
in a
most
180
likely
degree
it.
arc. Other fire teams covering west in a 180 degree arc. So it is always important to have 360 degree security at all times when stopped. So with that, if you guys open up apps here and you reference this little green box up here, does everybody see that? Alright, we're going to go on a little simulated patrol here. The start point is going to be that checkered flag over there.
Alright,
However,
there we
in
go.
reference in the app, you'll notice there's a couple of what we know as phase lines on this. Phase lines are used to sort of control movement for a either. I mean, it can be just a squad, but usually you'll see these more with platoon-size elements.
I also sent a message to the new trainees,
from,
and they haven't got back to me yet. With like this
here we're
two-part
going to get
training
to
I'm
the,
doing
again
with
that
them.
planning portion that Chief probably mentioned earlier.
So, sitting on
So we're going to go. We're going to start at the start
waiting.
point. We're going to pass through phase line green. We're going to continue. We're going to be following
No,
the
it's
ditch here
Swift and Spears.
to the best of our ability.
Oh.
And then once we
Don't
pass
we already
phase
have
line
a Swift
red,
and a
we're
Spears?
going to be in
Yeah.
kind of a
I'm considering
area
for
where we
trainees
think we might
because,
be imminent contact. We won't really. There is
Spears
no
hasn't set me up
nobody
proper
shoot
one
that
yet,
will be
and
conditioned
then
for here, but just for the purposes of the
Swift
simulated
is
role.
brand new, so I'll just get them through all the ropes here.
We'll be moving to RP1. At RP1, we're going to short halt. There's going to be a danger crossing set on that road. One fire team, myself, are going to pass through to RP2. We're going to wait there until you guys pick up the danger crossing, and then we're going to move to the end point. Do you guys have any questions about kind of the planning phase here before we move into the actual movement phase?
Yeah.
Alpha Bravo, go ahead and get 360 degree security around the start point.
That's your cue.
That's us, too.
Have fun.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
So I know we're in range and we could hear him, but make sure your relay order is over point 1.
Copy. Alright guys, set up
Make sure you start
360
talking
around this
quietly.
flag.
Yeah, just switch that.
Stevens is looking north.
I've got the east.
Above you.
Oof, we vanished, right?
Sorry,
Oh, I got
everything you just said, I cannot fucking hear you. What did you
I
say?
got northwest.
Poof, we vanish.
Copy.
Poof, poof, we vanished indeed.
Alpha Bravo, let me know when you guys are all rallied at the start point. This is Bravo, we're set. This is Alpha, we're set. Alpha, you're going to be leading us on point here. Take us out on a bearing of 038. Again, we're going to be following the ditch the best we can, but you'll be leading us out to RP1. Take us out when you're ready. Copy that, 038 to RP1. Alpha's moving. Copy that, 038 to Alpha to RP1. Alpha's moving. Alright, boys, on me. Bravo, this one went follow in behind Alpha, and then you guys will be the Copy rear that. Yeah, element. that first transmission was for Enville.
Your team's being left.
This is Bravo. I'm tracking over.
Are you saying you heard him twice? Or you only heard him once?
I think he's saying he heard me twice because I said it on 2 freaks.
Roger that.
Alpha, this is 1-1. Go for Alpha. Need you to turn around. You took a wrong turn. Copy, we're coming back.
Alright guys, we should have turned right up here. Sorry about that.
Oh, good.
Alpha's back attached. I know you got a 2AC. Who are your buddy teams?
Neumann.
Buddy teams are going to be basically all three of us right now.
The 4 people with you.
Oh, Gonzalez is
The 4 people in Alpha.
Stevens, are you in Alpha too? Oh, okay.
Short
Alright,
haul
boys,
it.
so the buddy teams are going to be Newman and Reddick,
Bravo,
and
short hold.
Stevens. Short hold, boys, short hold.
Roger. Bravo copies.
Alpha copies. Did you guys copy those buddy teams?
Don't worry, they fixed the problem on the radio, but I wanted to go address it before they keep going.
I'm
But
covering
it's also practice the short haul a little bit.
I got it, sir.
Copy. Clear to
I got
pick up when you want. I just wanted to make sure that was fixed.
Alpha, this is 1-1. Go ahead and continue movement whenever you're ready.
Alpha copies. Alright, boys, we're going to continue. I got
Check
eyes
that.
on
Check
the...
that.
Alright, guys, we're going to continue. I got eyes to the northeast on a tower and some installments up there, so just keep eyes up there as we move. Alpha's moving. On me.
I can pick it up.
Copy that.
Well, he's the first one that actually pull out those installments up there. Nope.
Yeah.
Alpha, this is Enville.
You had that backwards, but send your traffic, Alpha.
Alpha's like to hold up here at this bunker and get eyes on this hill above us.
What do you mean?
Alpha, this 1-1. Go ahead and disregard that at this time. Continue moving towards RP1.
Copy that.
RP1 star northeast right now.
Yep. Still moving, boys.
He called out that he was changing
Eyes on a checkered flag.
060 on the 069.
Eyes on as well.
Alpha, this 1-1. Go ahead and short halt in the rocks to your front. About another 50 meters.
Alpha copies. Alright, guys, we're going to short halt in these rocks right up here. Rennick and Newman, go ahead and take the rocks on the right there. Facing east.
Will do.
Copy.
Me and Stevens will cover northwest, southwest.
Set.
Set.
Alpha, this is Envo. How copy?
Set. Alpha, this is Anvil. You had that backwards again, but send your traffic.
Alpha's set. Sorry about that.
Copy. Alpha, go ahead and set a danger crossing on that road. Let me know when it's set.
Alpha copies. Alright, guys, we're going to set up a danger crossing on the road ahead here. Me and Stevens are going to cover, and Rennick and Newman are going to cross first. You guys copy?
Roger.
Roger.
Okay, on me.
We're just going to set up facing east. Your side.
Copy. I got west.
Set.
Set. Alright, boys, go ahead and move across.
Roger.
Newman crossing.
Right behind you.
I'm gonna check on this robber here.
Alpha, this is 1-1. Make sure you guys are when they're setting security for the LDA.
Alpha copies. Stevens, you'll go and then I'll go last.
Clear. Rocks up here.
This ditch over here looks clear too.
Copy. Stevens, you ready?
We need to wait for Bravo to cross here.
I don't know.
We're holding the LDA.
Copy.
Newman watching the west side.
Rennick watching east.
Bravo, this is Alpha. How copy?
Send traffic.
We're ready for you guys to cross.
Bravo copies. 1-1, this is Bravo. Over.
Bravo, this one, I'll go ahead and move through that danger crossing time now. Remind you guys to call last man.
We'll go.
Additionally, when you guys get across, just go ahead and set up in the ditch at RP2.
We'll go.
Make sure to call last man once you cross here.
Connor copies.
And boys, just make sure everyone's running for this LDA security if you're not already.
Last man Stevens.
Copy. Last man cross, called it out. We're ready to collapse on you.
Alpha copies. Stevens, let's move.
Good. Last man.
Last man. Alright, boys, go ahead and get up on me. Yep, we're moving northeast.
Shaw, did you want to cover everything?
We're set right over.
Copy, Bravo. Now we're going to move through Bravo here to these rocks just on the other side of them.
Roger.
If you want me to, sure. I mean, if you want to go over it, it's all good, either way.
Copy, yeah. I'll
got
try
the
and
west,
make it quicker.
Stevens to get south, and then Rennick and Newman, you guys get the other side.
Yeah,
Alpha, Bravo, go ahead and stop what you're doing. Break.
Just gonna go to the top of the hill.
Alpha, go ahead and get your guys to rally on the rock wall over here.
Set, I'm watching now.
Alpha copies. Alright, we're going to rally on this rock wall over here, guys. Copy. To our east.
Whatever. Shaw, this is Red 4 on 3-1, ready to take over.
Yep.
Red 4 is ready to go.
Got it. Okay, I'm giving them time to look at the course now. I'm not going to give them too long so we can get started here probably at 20 till. Sean, have you already done the thing for myself and Mike, or do I need to do that?
Currently doing it.
I'll take care of him. And he's already got it.
It's, who's the mic?
Gonzalez.
Done on both.
Dingo Mike. Alright, let's get the show on the road. We got, I think there's a platoon training kicking off soon. Do you reckon the atomic bomb module might be a little bit of a misclick? Just a little.
Can I shoot these guys staying out in the middle of the fucking...
When you hear the mortar go off, yeah.
Okay.
Alpha 4's ready, Blue 4, you ready? Roughly speaking, I'm ready to kick off. Just waiting for that mortar to go off to give them movement orders here. Got it.
Woo, you're using right. You put extra blue 4 down, didn't you, Phil?
Put op 4 and blue 4 flankers down on the side to make a lot more noise.
I was like, why the hell am I hearing shots off to my left?
Hey, it's making a lot more noise now.
I didn't know I could actually do this. That's a first. Okay. If I literally hit somebody just then, that was like a lucky fucking shot. Literally just had a missile fly over his fucking head. Just saying that like a
Yep. Are these rounds running close? I'm not trying to hit him directly.
No, they weren't too close.
He still didn't move.
Next barrage might hit.
Here we are on my set. Static CPGM.
Don't be surprised, there's going to be 2 Apaches flying over.
It did fast.
You gotta keep it. Douglas, how far is it to the hill right now? Maybe I'll throw a BRD and get to one of the AT sticks.
Probably less than 200 meters.
We're just over 200.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna throw a BRD on that. You know, mix it up.
As it's trying to drive over the wall.
Jesus Christ, they both did a full guy. Yeah.
What just happened?
They missed both the AP stuff. I don't blame O'Connor for messing with the law, but... This is the point. I was literally just about to grab Bravo's fucking rifleman too, because I had a beautiful side shot on it from where I was. We can call it. They're all here.
FMC's firing.
Yep, both AT shots missed, and I'm the most disappointed person I've ever been in my life. I'm bleeding. I don't know how I'm bleeding. You know what?
I don't know how
fine.
I'm dead.
Yeah, that
right.
That IDF landed right on you, Rennick.
So, how do you guys think that went? You guys think that was stressful?
I thought
Yeah,
it was stressful. I think
stressful.
it went okay. Obviously, it was much room for improvement, but overall, not
you
bad
guys
for the
actually,
first one.
you guys actually did a pretty A-okay job comparatively to a lot of other cycles I put through. So don't think of it that badly. There's some cycles that took twice as long. There's a cycle that I think fastest was like 10 minutes. But I mean, like I said, you guys did a pretty A-okay job for what it was. It was designed to be stressful. It was designed to be loud. It was designed to be making you guys basically get overwhelmed with senses. So don't think most conflicts are going to involve rocket artillery, mortars, everything else, shit ton of everything landing next to you and everything like that. Never going to be that kind of situation, but that's the point of what we're trying to go over right now, is that it's supposed to make you have a hard time thinking. Hopefully we did accomplish that. One thing I want to point out, what's your ammo capacity at right now? What color are you right now?
Very red.
Very red, got it.
Neumann is orange.
Orange?
I'm yellow. Yellowish green.
All right. So there's a bit of there's two things here. For starters, the OSUT loadouts are a bit smaller in terms of capacity here. That's intentional. But the other thing to consider is that even when you do get the full capacity, regular operations last 2 to 3 hours on average. And that was about 10, 15, close to 20 minutes of time right there. So be very aware of how much ammunition you're spending, right? You got to get through the operation without having to blow through all your ammunition. You can rely on others to resupply you, but they only have a finite amount as well. So be very aware of how much you got going on you, and send that shit up as soon as you get down to orange or even yellow. Let them know, like, hey, we're burning through ammo really quickly. That way it can get sent up the pipeline and actually get a resupply in the middle of the operation rather than not getting that, have to resupply from enemies, et cetera, et cetera. So keep that in mind.
Sergeant. Yeah, I thought about calling that up, but I figured it was...
I get you. Don't worry about it. Chief, do you have anything?
A-firm, Sergeant. One thing, guys.
Make sure you're speaking.
Sorry, can you guys all hear me now?
Yes, Chief.
Yep.
Okay. The one thing, you guys were taking lots of RPGs. One of you did not get down.
You guys are dismissed if you guys want to go
and
somewhere else.
Get behind cover when you took that RPG over your head, one in front of you, and then one basically right in your face. And you still didn't move. So just know that I was being a little less easy on you guys tonight, but Ares operators, we give you warning shots, and then we'll put you down. We'll directly engage you in your face and drop you. And then you guys, and the medics will have to get you up, if they can. So, just utilize your smokes, utilize cover. Smoke is concealment, cover is hardcover, sandbags, walls, anything like that. That little tin shack right there is not cover of any kind. It is concealment only, and normally you're seen running towards it, and you stick out like a sore thumb. Other than that, Sergeant, that's it for me.
Thank you, Chief. Sergeant Douglas.
Thank you, Sergeant. I do have a few points, but I'll make them all pretty brief. So the first thing, when you guys are moving between cover, just take note of the type of cover, because when you guys were at those little like sand dunes back there, I saw a couple of you go over it. That is extremely exposing yourself. It is better to move around something like that rather than over it. Next thing, make sure you guys are sticking with your battle buddies. There's a few times you either left somebody behind or you guys got split up, so make sure you always keep track of your battle buddies. Smoke usage wasn't terrible. Again, it was mostly the other fire team, but once we were in range, you guys can put 40 micromite smoke up on the top of the hill to blind the enemy instead of blinding yourself. So just keep that in mind. And also, there could have been a little bit more smoke usage when you guys were moving yourselves. However, it wasn't too scarce. Also with that, if you guys are using a different color smoke for concealment, make sure you call it up. I saw a green smoke somewhere that I didn't hear called up. That's just to avoid confusion for anything. So, you know, if you have to use a red smoke for concealment, you don't want people thinking that's the enemy position that you're using to conceal your own position.
Copy.
And lastly, this is just a general note, not that you guys weren't doing it, but even if you guys don't see enemies, but another fire team requests suppression, make sure you're at least keeping up a sustained rate of fire on that. It doesn't have to be anything too crazy. You don't have to, you know, burn through a belt on the saw or dump a magazine from your M4. Just enough to keep the enemy's heads down for a little bit while the other team is moving. Otherwise, I don't have anything. Thank you, Sergeant.
All right. There could be a couple more things we might have missed, but that's not the point right now. We're trying to get you out of here so you can fill in for other things if you guys like to, or enjoy the rest of your Sunday. But these are the big points you got to take away from here: is the ammo conservation, what is cover, what is not cover. Don't peek things that you're getting shot at. If you're taking active fire from somewhere, do not peek the same cover. Peek it from a different angle, or request somebody else from a different area take fire at that place. Is there any questions, comments, concerns before we wrap this up?
No questions.
No questions, Sergeant.
No, I'm all set, Sergeant. Thank you.
Perfect. All right. On that note, you guys are dismissed.
Havoc 2 does need plenty of fill-ins, so check in with Havoc 2 if you guys are interested in doing anything after this.
Copy that.
Hey, Sergeant Douglas, do you mind working with my radio just for 1 second. I know I'm not going to really matter much, but I just want to get it